Welcome back, everybody. You got Will and I Man here from the Block Runner, MetaZone, Rovi, and MScribe, and today we're going to be talking about the Bitcoin ecosystem little project known as Ordinals.
Little tiny fella, right?
A little speck in the dust of crypto.
Seems that way. But nonetheless, something we've been following for a couple of years now, because core thesis to it all, if you've been around crypto long enough, you've seen these things called blockchains kind of like propagate
I've heard of that.
quite frequently. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of them out there, right?
Yep.
And then what you like to do is, developers like to come in, build things on these blockchains, and then typically what happens is like some new value is produced, and you have like, aggregate markets form around that, and then you have like an ecosystem as a result. And it's like, Ethereum has this native token called ETH. It's like what, 200 billion in market cap, 300, 400, something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. It fluctuates a lot these days.
Right.
So let's call it 200 billion. But then like the ecosystem on top of Ethereum, roughly valued around the same thing. It's like all the other tokens, essentially fungible or not, collectively the value is like around 200 billion also.
Yeah, that's a lot of value created off of one chain.
Correct. Yeah, so like, it's like, we want to do this on all chains, and typically, not all of them have that much ecosystem value, but still there's a semblance of ecosystem value for every chain. So it's like, what about Bitcoin? There's this $2 trillion chain out there.
Yeah, it was a ghost town until 2 years ago.
Yeah, and as far as like an ecosystem value overview, probably barely pushing the boundaries of $1 billion.
Yeah.
Right. So
yeah, that's crazy.
That's the core thesis here. Is like you got the biggest, oldest, most valuable chain in existence. Ecosystem is like not even a blip. You can barely see it.
Yeah, that's right. So so we're talking about ordinals, and apparently you can do fungible tokens and non-fungible tokens on Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
so it's worth following to see, if this stuff will take off, because if it does, it should be explosive, right?
Yeah. So we found this 2 years ago. This was like in the early version of the Ord client, and we're looking at an update here where Casey Rodermore, which is the creator of Ordinals, him and Rafjaff, they are releasing Ord 1.0.
Yeah, so if Ordinals was a 2 year ago thing, what do you mean? 1.0 indicates like a starting point, right?
Yeah.
Well, I guess so. We've been like in alpha and beta basically this
whole time. Yeah.
So it's like, all right, Casey. So they did a podcast. So we didn't watch it, but you can. But we have
we have a deep understanding here of
not only that, but we also have a deep understanding of the usefulness of AI, right? So we went to our useful friend here, a Notebook LM.
Notebook LM.
Fed it that video. I was like, all right, outline for us the core like takeaways, right?
Yeah. So part of the update is including wallet refactor with BDK. So one of the most significant challenges in Ordinals 1.0 is the complete overhaul of the wallet system. So it's faster, more responsive, increased flexibility for adding new features, ability to run a wallet on a separate lightweight machine from the Ordinals index, which indexing Ordinals is becoming harder and more computationally intensive to do so. And so now they're separating the wallet function from the actual index itself.
All right.
And then the potential for future support of hardware wallet signers. And one of the things that they discussed here, which we'll discuss in a little bit, is an AI agent to be able to tell the agent what to do based on conditions.
Yeah, it's good. So this is something we've been talking about for months now, how AI is going to completely revamp and overhaul like the UI UX of crypto in general, right? And it's it's going to help with DeFi, the core thesis around DeFi AI, decentralized financial artificial intelligence. It's like these tools and these primitives are just too intimidating for the majority of the users out there. Like I don't want to have to understand what impermanent loss is and take the risks of lending and borrowing and such. So an AI can kind of like fulfill these tasks on my behalf with like a much clearer clarity and understanding of how they function. Right?
It's definitely increases the user experience. I want to get to the point where it's like you hear about ordinals and it's like, okay, I want to jump in. It's like, how do I get started? It's like, oh, you need I'll get you a wallet. It's like, what do you want to do? It's like, I want to get NatCat. It's like, okay, it's like, then you need to fund the wallet, which we'll do automatically. And then,
right.
And then you just say yes, to a bunch of prompts, and then it's like give me a Nat Cat.
Yeah, say you've been like in the Solana trenches for the last 6 months, but you're watching this video.
Yeah.
You know, like, you know what? Ordinals probably are like, it's a good time to like start scooping some of them because it's been overlooked for a while now. And, you know, I'm buying into this core thesis. You're right. Bitcoin should have a very powerful and valuable ecosystem on top of it. So, you know what? Okay, my AI assistant out there, let's convert some of this SOL to Bitcoin. You figure out how to do that.
Yeah.
And then like figure out which of the interfaces out there get me like the most credible assets and stuff like that, right? So that is the future we're headed towards, and we've been seeing this like develop like with BankerBot and Clinker. Tap Protocol, which we're about to talk about here soon, has talked about they're having AI agents with their wallets integrated pretty soon. So this is definitely going to be a systemic expectation, I think, moving forward.
Yeah. All right. So moving on in the Ordinals ecosystem, we got Taproot Wizards. They are doing a mint here for 0.2 Bitcoin
each, by the way.
Each, and there's roughly 2,000 of them.
Yeah, not 0.2 is like the goal. You know, this is 0.2 Bitcoin each wizard here, dude.
Yeah, look at this fine art.
Yeah, so these are PFPs. If you don't know what those are, profile pictures, right? So you're expected to purchase one of these for roughly $15,000 to $20,000.
It's no big deal.
And now it becomes your forever ingrained, you know, social identity, at least on X, right? I mean, that is the utility of a PFP. But the reason why this is notable is because, you know, Ordinals collectively have been in quite the slump for about a year, I'd say. And out of nowhere, we got this like $30 million targeted mint coming out.
Yeah, and they also raised $30 million roughly.
Yeah, so this is ruffling a lot of questions, right? It's like the timing of this doesn't seem to kind of like mesh with the environment of today, right? And just
but man, you can get them at 0.1 Bitcoin as long as you buy their previous cat. You find one that's alive, one that's dead. And then you entangle them, and then all of a sudden it's not 0.2, it's 0.1.
Okay, you're on the list to spend half
as much.
What you would have spent. Yeah, so nonetheless, to the majority of the audience, I'm sure this is like egregious. Like you would interpret this like, damn, dude.
Yeah.
Does an art collection really warrant that much like money? I mean, that's subjective. Some people would say, you know, I would pay. You know, Pablo Picasso was still alive and he just wanted to put art on Bitcoin for whatever reason. Yeah, I would pay $20,000 for a piece of his art. Yeah, but I don't know if these guys are
Pablo
Picasso. I guess they're the Picassos of Bitcoin, right? Because they're demanding quite the value here.
Yeah, I mean, is this not Picasso-like, dude?
That's fuck. I mean, in the context of Bitcoin, that's as Picasso as it gets, I guess, dude. In the context of the crypto market. This seems like something that the existing demographic would definitely enjoy.
Yeah, and also they have a reverse or a Dutch auction, which is like a reverse auction. So they start at really expensive, something like 1 Bitcoin, and then it goes down, and then maybe somebody will buy it.
Yeah, so in the grand scheme of things, is like this is a big event in the context of Ordinals again, because of the sticker price here, but I don't think this really changes anything. This isn't going to like...
Yeah, it's not going to spark a new mania in Ordinals.
There's still major critical systemic problems with the market of Ordinals itself, right? And it's not about funneling as much money as we can to like the biggest actors of the space. It's like we need to figure out how to create sustainability for like all creators.
All creators, yeah.
And builders in the space, which is stuff we're actively interested in building, right?
Yeah, yeah. Okay, continuing on here, we got a tweet here by Ord 1.0. It says, Breaking Rotomore just announced an upgrade to Runes, a protocol called Agents. This will allow Runes to be automated market makers on Bitcoin L1. So this is where the agents, you're allowed to create these policies like, I want to sell this asset at a specific price, and it'll essentially set that up for you and be able to execute these transactions.
Yeah, in other words, this is like a new wrinkle of an addition where you can kind of like bypass some of the limitations of Bitcoin, right? Like one being UTXOs themselves, other being the lack of programmability and functionality because of the absence of smart contracts. So now you can have these agents essentially interacting with off-chain smart contract logic, I guess, to execute like things on chain, right?
Yeah.
So it's an interesting little bypass mechanism, right? That I think will probably be utilized in the future, right?
Yeah, across the board, not just in runes, but pretty
Everything,
much every
yeah.
market. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is just, again, AI is the shit, right? Right, guys?
Yeah. It looks like it.
Seems to be.
All right, moving on. We got Bob Bodley here with Odin.fun. He's got some updates, user base, and performance issues. I guess the community was complaining about some of these performance issues, and so they're working on it. Referrals, transaction delays, and a couple of things that have been discovered by the community that they are working on fixing. So overall, a pretty successful platform for the Runes ecosystem. And
we talked about it like a month ago.
Yeah.
So it's had its periods of ups and downs, but I mean, it's just, memes seems to be what the market wants, right? So again, we're talking about building an ecosystem on Bitcoin.
Mm-hmm.
As of now, this is the most viable meme platform on Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Well, it's using a Bitcoin meta protocol, the runes itself, but the actual action is happening.
Yeah, on ICP, smart contracts.
So, yeah, nonetheless, it's worthy to keep tabs on these types of developments, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Speaking of more developments, we have Tap Protocol. They've created a bridge to the Tron network to Bitcoin. So now the Tron community can start leveraging their ability to access Bitcoin as a network to start building on as well, using the Tap Protocol. So it's our pleasure to welcome Tron DAO and all the Tron builders and communities to build on Bitcoin using Tap. Yeah, so bridge your Tron assets between Tron and Bitcoin here, which is on bridge.taproot swap. So we used Taproot Swap before to provide liquidity to the NAT token and swap tokens for BTC and NAT. It's pretty easy to use. And you got to remember, you're using the Bitcoin network. So when you do a swap, it's going to take at least 10 minutes for it to go through.
Yeah, and also keep in mind you're using, again, ICP, just like Odin.
Mm-hmm.
These swaps are being facilitated through co-processing of another network, right?
Yeah, in the case, but there's differences here. So in this case, in Taproot Swap, you are swapping L1 assets, right?
Correct,
so Bitcoin and in this case NAT. L1 assets.
That's why you have to. You're still
waiting the 10 minutes. Yeah. So on Odin.fun, you're not doing that.
No, you're in a completely separate environment, right?
Yeah.
That's why things are lightning fast.
That's right.
Isn't Odin like a lightning god, or that's Thor, right?
Odin.
What is Odin? It's like a Viking of some kind.
Yeah. I forgot what kind of god he was, but yeah.
Whatever. He's the god of boats, dude. Whatever.
I think it is lightning.
God of the sea. No,
or is that Thor?
That Thor? That's Thor.
Odin is the All-Father, guys.
The All-Father?
Pretty sure of it.
Isn't Thor's dad Odin?
I don't know, dude. You're the one who watches these things. That's why I asked you. I was expecting a full breakdown of the lore. Of you understood Thor's whole.
Yeah, Odin is the All-Father, the chief god in Norse mythology.
Wow, so he's the guy
associated with wisdom, war, death, poetry, and magic.
All right.
So he's the everything god.
Perfect name then, dude.
Yeah.
Odin is the everything experience on Bitcoin, right?
Yeah.
For runes. So, but yeah, it's so interesting. So Tap is, doing what Tap does, right? Implementing more features for developers and users. So the underlying takeaway here is the ecosystem continues to propagate and move forward, right?
Yeah.
Which is good. Good signs.
All right. So we're looking at a tweet here by Alfredo. It says, and just like that, Rarity Guardian, which is Benny from Tap Protocol, crashed the party. So yesterday we had a Twitter Spaces with the community, and this is like a weekly thing that we do.
Yeah, it's typically like a digital matter theory, right? It says it right there in the Twitter Space title. So it's like where we aggregate to talk about all things DMT. That includes, it's pretty wide encompassing conversations like NAT. We could talk about the NAT token. We could talk about NAT cats or royals or DMT chaos or anybody who's like a interested artist or creator. Like in this one we had an audio artist.
I think his name was Fevra.
Yeah. So he deals with generative music.
Yeah. Right.
And we're like, hey, have you ever thought of,
Have you ever heard of DMT? It was like the drug?
Yeah. It's like, I'm on it right now, dude. Yeah. But yeah, you broke down, or you attempted to, man. And while you were doing that, I was like, fuck, dude, this is tough.
It's deep. DMT is deep.
It's hard to like intro DMT to a newbie.
Yeah.
Because man, it's a lot of layers for sure.
Yeah, there's all these acronyms.
That too. Yeah, we need to talk to February. I was like, dude, are we like psychotic? What's your takeaway from that?
It's like, you guys are on DMT, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So what we asked him was like, how would you apply the concepts of DMT, which essentially is the utilization of Bitcoin block data patterns to music? Because that hasn't been done so far to my knowledge.
Yeah. Right? Yeah. So that's the whole point of DMT, is that whatever kind of like vertical that you're into, whether it's music or art, whatever it is, you can look at Bitcoin's block data and interpret it in whatever artistic way that you want, including music.
Or in the next case we're going to talk about here, an entire metaverse, right? But go to this Twitter space because Benny came on.
Yeah, Benny came on.
Big Noodle came on. Big Noodle, which is super fan.
Yeah.
He mentioned some things about potentially like an AI solution to metaverse development, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So there's a lot of stuff's happening, right? All right. So finally, we're going to look at Magic Eating's website for Bitmap. And it looks like there was a resurgence of interest here.
Yeah. I think people are.
This is like 100% difference, I think.
Yeah. It was a significant increase. You
know?
I've been seeing people out there like posting, the market psychology charts and stuff where it's like boom and bust. So Bitmap definitely had its boom period.
Yeah, I expect Bitmap to be an oscillator.
Exactly. So if people are seeing this as a signal of like, oscillation stage 2 maybe beginning.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that could be the case for like all the entire Ordinals ecosystem potentially.
Yeah, but I feel like something like Bitmap, it's going to be more of an oscillator. So as an oscillator, that's kind of what you want your token to be like, because it goes up and it goes down. But it doesn't go, exactly. It doesn't go all the way down to where it's like dead, but it's like it's an accumulation zone, and then it resurges.
Yeah, so those typically you can trace very identifiable psychological patterns along these waves of oscillation. So people have like mapped out the entire like 2-year trajectory of Bitmap, and pretty much all of them have been experienced.
Yeah.
Except for the coming out of depression phase into like the disbelief for the second leg.
Yeah, and this is still early. I mean, Bitmap released 2023 on June.
Yeah. Almost 2 years.
Almost 2 years, so.
Yeah, so, I mean, maybe.
Oscillations don't occur like on a monthly basis, guys.
Yeah, they take time.
Yeah.
Because, you could go back to our playlist here where we discovered Bitmap and talked about it for pretty much like an entire year during its like euphoric uprise.
Yeah.
But then of course, steam runs out, and then you got, capitulation along the way.
Mm-hmm.
So all of that's behind us.
It's normal too.
Yeah, this is part of like maturation and growth, right? So hopefully this is it. This is like the coming out parties. You know what? Bitmap is still around.
Mm-hmm.
There is a community that still believes in this stuff. Mm-hmm. There are, guess what? Developers.
That's right.
That's us.
That's us. Yeah.
We're building on this thing, right?
Right. Yeah. And so for those of us who are building, here's an example. Right. Pretty awesome, much needed update from the Natrix. So this is a tweet by Joe talking about one of the updates that we did for the Natrix. What's the update? The Natrix geolocation map that shows you where you are in the metaverse. And so what does that look like?
Yeah.
So here we are.
Oh, geez. Sounds scary. All right. So this is the Natrix, right?
And this is a NatCat avatar.
Yeah. So we were talking about DMT, right? These are DMT things, meaning like the rendering of this cat. What makes this cat is dependent on Bitcoin block data.
Yeah, that's right.
Like the color of its ears, like the color of its skin. It doesn't have like
its eyes.
It's not. Yeah, it's
there's a mouth. There's a mouse in the mouth.
Is there?
Yeah.
Oh, it's a little tiny mouse.
It's a tiny mouse.
Dude, he's right here, dude. Tiny mouse. That's TJ's name.
That's true.
Sorry, I just doxed you online,
You're
TJ.
Good. Now everybody has my gamer tag.
That's right. Well, there's a tiny mouse in this cat's mouth, dude. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah. All right. So the update was, as you can tell, it's kind of like difficult to have orientation, right? So if you hit the escape button, there's a map. And if you keep running, and let me zoom in here, I'm that red dot that keeps moving there.
Yeah, it's good. So we needed this, right? This is one of the biggest like feature requests we've had and it's been a couple of months of.
So since Joe made this tweet, let's go visit Joe's spot. So he's got parcel 0, dude. Let's jump in there.
Okay, yeah, there's a nice little teleport button, by the way.
Yeah.
It takes you to whichever parcel you want, which
All
is
right.
good. There it is. That was pretty quick.
All right, Joe. Show me your stuff, dude.
So this is literally the top left corner
of
the map.
Yeah, and in case you're wondering, this is a bitmap.
Yeah, open that map up again just so we can just see it. So yeah, this is a bitmap. You go to Magic Eden, search bitmaps. You're going to see a bunch of these because there's one of these corresponding to every single block on Bitcoin.
And there's 880,000 blocks.
Yeah, so there's literally 880,000 potential virtual worlds that can be deployed using this stack called Bitmap OS, which is what's powering the Natrix right now.
Right.
All this stuff you're looking at.
Yeah, so this is Joe's parcel here. So he's been busy.
It's a little laggy, dude. He definitely has a lot of busyness here.
Yeah. Yeah, so this is a cool place because you can use MMO and you can use MMO to create the content that you want. So basically, this is what Joe's done. And
yeah, dude. What do these signs say? Can you get a little closer?
Yeah, it says Ferris wheel. These signs say builders. So High Island, where the Natrix builders stand out.
Wow, this is very cool.
Welcome to the High Island.
And he's got a blimp and everything, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is like one, and then he's got neighboring parcels over here with their own content.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
This is MDV's parcel.
MDV, right? BTC Substance.
Yeah. Somebody showcasing his 3D art capabilities, and of course, somebody just wants their parcel to be
Yeah, I think this is Monero Nakamoto's parcel.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is it, guys. This is what these parcels represent. At first, they were simply just Bitcoin transactions, like locked and immediately stored forever in Bitcoin's, distributed ledger. But through like the understanding of digital matter theory and DMT, we can now harness this like immutable data substrate layer to produce new stuff.
That's right.
Like as opposed to how we've been doing things in the past, like we just spawn virtual worlds, spawn digital tokens, whatever.
Yeah.
Off of nothing, baseless existence, just out of thin air. Right? We call those arbitrary. This stuff is not arbitrary because essentially Bitcoin's the arbiter of whether things exist and how the state of how they exist, right?
Yeah, if you wanted to look at what this looks like in code, I pulled it up right here. And so this is all the effort that Joe did, right? He's named everything like properly.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, this is brilliant, dude.
Very nice. Yeah, so we'll have more videos about this stuff. But yeah, this is it. This is the state of Ordinals so far. I mean, it's pretty wide encompassing space, just like, things on other chains, right? You got NFT, PFPs on Ethereum. You've got metaverses on Ethereum like Decentraland and Sandbox.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing on Solana. You got art on Solana. You got people building metaverses on Solana.
That's right.
All this stuff is happening on Bitcoin, and not many people are aware of that.
No.
Right?
No. Yeah, so, the Ordinals goes deep. DMT goes even deeper. And if you guys have any questions about what's happening within the ecosystem, definitely let us know. And if you find anything worth research, let us know in the comment section below as well. Appreciate you guys for watching, and we will catch you in the next video.